Welcome to Talkin' Shit, the podcast where we get real about the unfiltered truths women face in the quest for perfection. I'm Jana, your host, a dietitian and fellow woman navigating the pressure to have it all together, the perfect body, career, relationships, and making it all look effortless. Who set that standard anyway? Here, we're calling out the diet fads, hustle culture, beauty standards, and everything else that keeps us feeling stuck. But we're not just venting, we're diving into how to break free and rewrite the rules on your terms. So, grab a coffee or a glass of wine and let's talk some shit. Together, we'll uncover how to live a life that's unapologetically yours. This is Talkin' Shit. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Talkin' Shit podcast. Today, I am doing a solo episode and I'm doing it with no notes again. So for those of you that have tuned in a couple episodes back, I did a solo episode where I didn't use any notes. I just kind of freeballed it. And this is a practice that I am literally practicing here with you all as I continue to work on being a better public speaker. Now, this is something that I've been doing since I joined Toastmasters, and I really have a goal to be a public speaker, to share more about nutrition and to be the dietitian of the Valley. And in order to do so, I want to be able to make sure that I am clear and concise and can give information in a way that it can be really easily received. So those of you that are tuning into the podcast, you get firsthand dibs, if that's even how you say it, on this practicing aspect. But also I wanted to do this and share it on the podcast because anytime that we are changing our behaviors, we have to practice the new behavior. And in the practicing, it's not going to be perfect. We're going to, and I'm air quoting, mess up. We're going to fumble. We're going to bumble. We're going to be like, oh, shoot, I retreat. Like, right? And I want you to see me doing that as well, to give you permission to practice new behaviors or to practice that person that you want to become, and to take the pressure off of having to be perfect while you're practicing it, which is something that I see so often in the health space or the nutrition space or the exercise space. Is so many women feel like they have to, when they start changing the behavior, if they don't do it perfect, then they effed up and they just stop doing it. But as your coach, as your dietitian, I don't need you to be perfect. I just need you to act. And I need you to practice that new behavior on repeat so that you learn about what works, what doesn't work, maybe where you need more support, or maybe where you got it, right? Like, so for me, in my own personal journey, and this is something that I am working on in 2026 to open up more into my own personal life and my journey in this health space so that we can really connect. And so I can continue to be really authentic with you all of, I'm right there with you. We're all on the same journey together. Maybe I might be further along, and yes, maybe I have the education to support you, and I'm still a human too, and I'm still figuring this shit out as well. And together we can really connect and strong form community to continue to lift each other up. So this is something that I'm going to keep practicing. This is something that I will use some of these episodes for, so I can continue to get better at speaking and sharing with you all. And the topic that came to mind for me is something that I have been having conversations with women around within Health Wins and just within women as a whole is really so let me take a step back. I get a lot of information simply from the stories that women share with me. And so many women feel like they are alone and that it's just happening in them because in some way there's a defect in them, or in some way they're not enough, or in some way they just, don't have this all figured out. Newsflash. No one has it figured out. Everyone feels this way. Well, not everyone. I don't want to talk in extremes, but a lot of people feel this way. And when it comes to weight and nutrition, a lot of individuals struggle because diet culture and marketing has really messed up our minds as we have been taught to think about food and nourishing and fueling our body, particularly in the weight loss space. And so I want to talk about some common mistakes that most women make that are struggling with nutrition or their weight, so that maybe this is a can be just an eye opener of one, you are certainly not alone. So many women, including myself, have struggled with this. And two, it can be a great opportunity to say, oh, okay, like if I'm not supposed to that, like what can I practice? What new behavior can I practice to really start shifting my relationship with food, my relationship with my weight, my relationship with myself, right? Like those are the areas that I work on with my coaching clients is what is your relationship with food? What is your relationship with your body and what is your relationship with yourself? Because yes, it is a relationship and it can be unhealthy or it can be healthy and it can be all these middle ground, right? Like there's so many different data points that you can be along this journey. And so I want you to see like, okay, does this resonate with me? Is this something I do? And is it maybe contributing to not getting the results that you are looking for? So, some common mistakes that I see, especially with women, but this also does happen for men, but I work a lot with women. And so I want to focus in on that area. Probably the number one mistake that most women make who are struggling with food or their weight is that they skip breakfast or they have a very, very small breakfast. Maybe it's, it's super busy in the morning, it's super chaotic. Maybe you have kids, you're trying to get them to school, you're trying to wake up yourself and get yourself ready and go to work. And, there's a lot that happens in the morning time. And actually, there's a lot of anxiety that individuals feel in the morning time. And maybe you're not as hungry, and so you don't have anything, or maybe you just have coffee or a little bite to eat, but nothing too much, like a granola bar. And then you start to really have your first meal around like 11 or 12 when you'll have something more substantial. That is doing a couple things. One, it's not working for you. It is one of those things that I see it just does not support us from a metabolic perspective. And I'm all about metabolism. I want to support your metabolism in ways far beyond food because your metabolism is established in so many different areas of your life, not just the food that you eat. And so when we're skipping breakfast, this really lends to your blood sugars not being stabilized throughout the day, likely having more cravings throughout the day, particularly at nighttime, and really skipping it out on key nutrients that your body needs in order to function and thrive. And this is a really big thing to dive into more, particularly in the coaching space, is your body needs nutrients in order to do what you want it to do. It requires nutrients in order for you to do what you want it to do. Think about it. Like our body is not a machine. Our body is a miracle. And all of our organ systems require so much energy, so many vitamins and minerals in order to do what they do. And we don't even think about it, right? Like think about how many nutrients, fluid, minerals your heart needs just to keep pumping throughout the day. Your digestion needs so many nutrients and hydration in order to do what it needs to do throughout the day. Your body requires these vitamins, minerals, and calories in order to perform at its highest. And when we skip meals, we are taking that opportunity away from our body to really be thriving. We don't want to do that, right? Like we want you to thrive. We want your body to work as effectively and efficiently as possible. And in order to do so, it requires nutrients and calories. Big one that I see in this area, a lot of individuals that skip breakfast, they likely struggle with blood sugar concerns. So usually they have, pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetes. They also likely have vitamin D deficiency, or they also have some thyroid issues going on, usually hypothyroid, so low functioning thyroid. That's because your thyroid requires a lot of nutrients, but what we have typically been taught, particularly as women, is that you restrict, 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 and that's going to fix the problem. And I'm air quoting the problem. You're not the problem. Your body's not the problem. We want to work with your body, not against it. And one way we do so is by giving it those nutrients. So if there's anything that you take away from today's podcast, I want you to first and foremost eat breakfast. We want a really big breakfast. I'm a fan of encouraging people to eat a big breakfast, at least 20 to 30 grams of protein, and typically anywhere between 400 to 600 calories during that meal. And so many women just look at me like, that's so much. And I'm like, I know your body needs these nutrients and it thrives with these nutrients. So we want to give it these nutrients. So usually at least 20 to 30 grams of protein and 400 to 600 calories for that breakfast time frame. The next mistake that I see a lot of women making is doing intermittent fasting or fasting just in general. So I will say some men and some women, very, very small amount of women, they have to have a very specific personality in order to be successful with fasting. And most women just don't, one, have that personality and or don't have those goals, and that's okay. And for men, we see just a difference. They have a very different connection with food as a whole and also the emotional component with food. So sometimes fasting can be okay, but for some men, also not okay. I would say 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you to stop fasting. Intermittent fasting or fasting just in general, clinically speaking, has not been found to be of benefit unless you are in a calorie deficit. So it always comes down to that calorie deficit. But in particular, again, I'm going to go back to that metabolism aspect. When we go for long periods of time without food, we're actually reducing your metabolic rate because your body essentially has to downgrade in order to function with things that it doesn't have. And in order to downgrade, it stops burning as many calories. This is why you may have experienced, you've done every diet out there, but the next diet that you do, it just feels so much harder to lose weight. It's because you have literally adapted, your metabolic rate has adapted to functioning off fewer calories. Again, this is why I said earlier, I want you to eat calories because you get a metabolic benefit from those calories. We actually get to increase your metabolism through food. Yay! Like that should make everyone scream and be so happy. We need calories. We need food in order for your metabolism to function at its highest. Yay, yay, yay. Let major celebration with that. And it's also why I don't put individuals in extreme calorie deficit. I like to do a slight calorie deficit when our goal is weight loss because we're working with your metabolism, we're working with your hormones, and we're working with your real life. That is my goal as your dietitian, is to all three of those things so you get the success that you're looking for. So fasting also typically makes blood sugar levels worse. We do not, and usually it makes them higher because when you go to actually eat a meal, oftentimes it's a very large meal and you have a very large glycemic response and potentially a crash after. But anytime that happens, we get more insulin that goes into the body, and insulin is a growth hormone. What that means for you and me is anytime there's more insulin in the system, it means your body is keeping fat around. For those of you that want to lose weight, you want to lose fat, not muscle. So we need to make sure that your blood sugar is balanced. And that's why I talk about that so much in my group program, but also my membership, is we're working with your metabolic health in order to be able to get you those results that you're looking for. Number 3, this is a mistake that I see often, is the idea of saving up calories. So if you have ever done Weight Watchers, a lot of women have shared with me that they would usually kind of save their points for bigger meals, or they would like eat smaller, before going to a party or a holiday function in order to be able to hit their calorie mark and not go over. And while I certainly understand that strategy is keeping you really in more of a disordered eating pattern where we're not truly fueling your body for what it needs in that moment. And we're also likely setting you up for failure when you do get into those environments because now you're overly hungry and your biology is just going to take over and say, you haven't given me any nourishment all day. So now I'm going to make sure you give me nourishment and I'm going to ramp up those hunger hormones so that you eat enough because I don't know when you're going to fuel me again next. So we don't want to save up our calories. Even if we know we're going to have a bigger meal, we want to be able to nourish and fuel your body throughout the day so that you are in better control when you actually get into those environments. You're not starving, and it allows you to have better navigation ability in that environment because now you're not ravished, you're not hangry, your biology hasn't taken over and said, all right, screw you, I'm going to make this work and I'm going to ramp up those hormones, right? So this is what I do with my coaching clients is we work with your hormones. That's more than just insulin. That's more than just your hunger hormones. That's more than just your sex hormones, progesterone and estrogen. There's so many hormones in your body that we're working with, and also your metabolism. Number 4, I had to think what number I was on. Number 4, not eating when you're hungry. This kind of goes into number 3, but when you are hungry, we want to fuel your body. And hunger isn't just your stomach growling. For example, like when I get overly hungry, I get so hangry. I can get like shaky. I can get really irritable. I can like literally not want to talk to any human around me because everything they do just makes me like, ugh, like this is how I can often feel hunger if I've gone too long without food. So you can get dizziness. There's so many other ways that your body can experience hunger than just your stomach growling. And if we're not eating when we're hungry, we are bypassing those cues that your body is giving you. And it makes it really, really hard to eat until you're full and satisfied and finish eating when you are full and content, which is really the goal. So we don't want to eat to a point where we feel stuffed or gross. And we also don't want to get to a point where we're eating when we're just starving. Both of those extremes are not where we want to be more often than not. Now, sometimes it's going to happen because life happens, right? The goal isn't to be perfect with this, but we want to make sure that we're in that middle range of the hunger scale, which if you're not familiar with, this is something that I teach my coaching clients, is we want to be in the middle of that hunger scale where you are the one in control, not your biology. So actually food is not the one that's in control. It's your body. We're totally overriding your body. We're not listening to it. And so it says, all right, I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that you survive. So we're just tuning into that. We're tuning into what's your body saying? When is it saying it? How can we fuel your body when it knows it needs nourishment? And I like to suggest to individuals to eat about every 3 to 5 hours. That's really key if you want to lose weight and if you want to better manage your blood sugar, eating every 3 to 5 hours. And then these last two, that I want to talk about have nothing to do with food because your metabolism, your hormones, your health, your body, there's so much more to it feeling its best than just what's on your plate. So I know I'm a dietitian and I know food is important. However, I think we've put a really big focus on food. And likely, I mean, I'm so glad that we have because food is very important and it doesn't solve all the problems. So the last two are not moving your body and not getting enough sleep because you feel like you need to do more in order to get the results that you're looking for. So let's break down the no movement. This is one of my go-tos for women in general. We want you to move your body. It has very little to do with calorie burn because exercise is not a weight loss strategy. You can exercise for 2 hours and burn like 250 calories, and you could eat four cookies in the matter of 30 seconds and gain that all back. So exercise, let me repeat that again. Exercise is not a weight loss strategy, but it is a strategy for so many other things that help your body in its desire to feel safe to lose weight. So, movement typically, like, I hate saying like in 100% of the time, so I'll say like 99.9% of the time, when women move their body, they instantly say they feel better. This changes your mindset and this changes how you see yourself, which is so freaking important when it comes to your health as a whole. Also, women that move their body more typically say they feel more confident. They feel more courageous to go into different spaces and actually share their voice because they're okay with being seen because they feel more confident in their body. They feel strong, they feel healthy, they feel confident. Those are all wonderful things. It also helps us close the stress loop. So we know exercise is the number one way that we can close the stress loop. So stress is going to happen in our life all the time. So the goal is not to retreat from life and never have a stressful episode ever again. Newsflash, that's not even real life. All of us experience stress, but how we manage that stress and how we cope with that stress is what we're looking for. And exercise allows us, women in particular, to close that stress loop, to really be able to calm our body down so that it can function as it needs to. You all know, hopefully by now, I'm a huge proponent of walking. Walking is a miracle drug. I know there's no miracle drugs out there, but it's a miracle drug. Go with me on this one. And I want you to walk at least 7,000 steps most days of the week. If you can do more, cool. I know some of them are like, well, 10,000 steps is the recommendation. Yes and no. So we're finding clinically about 7,500 to 8,500 steps per day is where we see those clinical outcomes be reached. And so what I'm looking for is not, did you hit that 10,000 steps twice a week? I want to know, did you hit 7,000 steps 5 times a week? Right? I'm looking at frequency. And sometimes we need to decrease the intensity of movement in order to increase the frequency of movement. So my preference is so that I can see that you are moving your body in some way almost every day. And this is why I say movement versus exercise is because I'm just looking for that movement, right? Like I don't care what you did for the hour in the gym. I'm looking at what did you do the other 23 hours of your day? This helps us really tune into our metabolism, our hormones, and just feeling so much better because you likely don't have as many aches and pains. You were able to step away momentarily to be able to take a deep freaking breath, get back into your body, be able to manage things. Like these are all things that are required in order to feel your best in your body. And then number 6 is not sleeping because you think you need to do more in order to get the results that you're looking for. Now, I'll just call myself out on this. Like I always feel like I always feel a little like bad talking about this because y'all sleep is the hard one for me. I struggle with sleep a lot. I have since I was like a baby. Uh this one I've had to learn so many different techniques and tools to be able to really lean into this space of my own lifestyle. So know that I share these things with you and I'm right there with you. And sometimes we're just not, it's just going to be hard. And we want to find like, how can it become easier, right? Like how do we make this easier so that we can feel our best? But this idea that you are going to skip on your sleep so that you can do more, that can be very counterintuitive, especially if you're wanting to work on increasing your metabolism and lose fat. We need sleep. So, in particular, sleep is so helpful for regulating our hormones, but also it's really helpful for detoxifying our body, particularly through the liver. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the like science on this because sometimes frankly, that can get super boring. But what I want you to know is that sleep allows your liver to do what it needs to do to get all the toxins out of your system. And if we are not getting enough sleep, then our body is not able to do everything it needs to do in order to rejuvenate itself. We want our body to feel rejuvenated, right? Like we want it to feel rested. We want it to feel like it can take on the load that you have in your life. And so when we're not getting that sleep, we are really skipping out. So I always prefer, like, if you have two options, go to the gym or get your sleep. I'm always going to tell you to get your sleep. Well, not always. Again, I don't want to speak in definite responses because sometimes, things change. But most of the time, I'm going to tell you to get your sleep, unless you've always been getting your sleep and you're not going to the gym. And maybe that's part of the excuse that we need to work through to create a solution around, right? Like, it depends on where you are in your journey. But if you are running off of 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep on most nights, I'm going to encourage you to get sleep versus get more activity so that we can really decrease that stress response in your body. And so we can get your body, I say, chill the F out so that we can get it to do what we want it to do. If your body is always in this stress state, it will not lose weight because weight loss is a stress to the body. So now you're in a stress state, you add in one more stress, the body's like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. Can someone please listen to me? And the way that it does that is saying, okay, well, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. And this is literally how I hear my body speaking and other women's bodies speaking is, okay, well, I'm just not going to do what you want me to do. Screw you, right? It's that little rebel in us. And it says, I'm not going to lose weight because you're not listening to me and you're not giving me what I need. So those are the 6 mistakes I commonly see women make that struggle with blood sugar, weight loss, or just really self-image and self-confidence. Like, these are the things we want to just be mindful of, and we want to find solutions for them versus continued excuses for them. All right, this was a longer episode. I'm so proud of myself. That was totally unscripted, you guys. And I hope that it was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in. We, in February, will be 1 year of the Talkin' Shit podcast. So we're going to do a big, celebration of that. But thank you so much for all of you that have tuned in. Hope this episode is helpful to you. See you next time.
This has been Talkin' Shit. If you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up or leave a review on the Apple Podcast app. If you want more episodes, click that subscribe button. And if you want to learn more, visit healthwins.org. Talkin' Shit is produced and hosted by me, Jana. This production is also made possible by the Community Media Access Collaborative. Learn more at cmac.tv. See you next time.